On this episode of ResiWeek, we are coming to you from the show floor of ISE 2017. Integrated Systems Europe has turned into the world's largest AV show. So we talk about residential and commercial and how that impacts both markets. All that and more next on ResiWeek.
The network for the AV industry.
What are you listening to?
This
is AV.
This
is AVNation.
This is AVNation.
ResiWeek is brought to you by our fine group of underwriters, companies like Kramer Electronics, AV Beyond the Box, and by Control 4. This is ResiWeek, episode 55, recorded Wednesday, February 8th, 2017, live from ISE 2017. This is ResiWeek from ISE 2017. My name is Tim Albright. I am your host. With me to talk about all sorts of things. First and foremost, one of our hosts for this week, Mr. Bruno from CEDIA. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. Thank you, Tim. It's great to be here.
Absolutely. Thank you. Also with us, Jason Griffing, and a residential integrator and a podcaster in his own right. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And last but not least, from RTI, Mr. Brett. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Not too bad. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Go around the horn. I want to start with you, Ben, because not for nothing, CEDIA is half owner of ISE. We were talking, we actually interviewed Mike Blackman last week and talking about the success of this show and how it's grown over the last 12, 14 years. What's one or two things that you would contribute to that success and the growth of the show?
That I would contribute, the reason for the success? Well, I'll tell you what, the exhibitors are a part of it. I have never seen in my entire 33-year career of doing trade shows and being in this channel, such creativity in the exhibits. So, the creativity represents the excellence in technology that's available today.
All right. Jason, this is your first time at this show.
Yeah.
I don't want you to compare because you can't compare different country, different organization, but just tell me your first impression of the show.
Immense. Yeah, it's a big show. And, you have to compare it to CEDIA when you're a guy like me, and that's my frame of reference. Yeah. Right? So obviously a different animal with commercial being here and residential, which is great for me. I think I get to see some interesting technologies that you don't get to see on the CEDIA floor. Obviously coming over to Amsterdam is great as well. It's a beautiful city, and so I'm having a really good time and just trying to take it all in.
Brett, you talked about the difference in the type of, not the difference in the type of client or your end user, but how you guys come to market in this market.
Well, that's something that RTI has a residential sort of background, but it's something that we definitely are focusing on right now, is moving more into the commercial and hospitality, which this particular market is much more commercially focused, I think. So we're putting out products such as the CX10. It's a boardroom controller, things like that are going to help our dealers and help our distributors move RTI into the commercial space a little more.
Then from a technology standpoint, there were some in the neighborhood of 90 to 100 new releases this week. Mm-hmm. That's something that also has grown over the last few years, where ISE was not necessarily a key point in the calendar. Now it is. What are some of the things that you've seen this week that are brand new that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever?
The transport over IP.
Yep.
Okay, there's brand new alliances, an alliance in particular that has recognized CEDIA as the platform for getting their message out, and we're already talking about 8K and 16K over cat cable. So that, first and foremost, was the most eye-opening, and CEDIA, we're getting prepared to get in front of that emerging technology and be able to deliver that curriculum to our technology integrators so that it's deployed efficiently and that everybody profits from it.
All right, Jason, he's pointing to you, so we're picking on you for two reasons. Not only are you an integrator, but you also have your own education, third-party education for the residential dealer. How do you take folks down this path of video over IP in the home market?
Yeah, I think as somebody, if you're somebody who's just starting to explore that technology, I think first it's really important to understand the fundamental, the architectural differences approaching HDMI over IP in that way. A lot of residential integrators have been doing HDMI distribution for years, but that's more of a matrix with point-to-point solutions doing the transport. And so this idea of HDMI over IP is very fundamentally different way to distribute. There are pros and cons to that. I think particularly in the larger jobs on the residential side, it makes a lot of sense. So I think it's an exciting technology for the right project on residential. Clearly in commercial, huge applications for it.
Is it something that you go ahead?
Oh yeah, I was just going to say, but I think to me as a residential guy, that's still the big question is where does this fit in and where does it actually become more economical to do?
And that was actually what my question was going to be, is you mentioned the big, ginormous houses, right?
Yeah.
You know, 20, 30,000 square feet, but do you see any time where it will make sense for the mid-level?
I think it's tough. I think maybe when the technology advances to where the prices can come down a little bit, potentially. But there are other benefits to it. It's not just about how it scales and how big it can get. Vin mentioned the bandwidth, right? And we're starting to push up against that over traditional transport means when it comes to copper. So understanding HDMI over IP and some of the things that they're able to do with that technology to meet that elusive 18 gigs per second cap that we're starting to run up against is very interesting. So there are a lot of facets to that technology that aren't just related to how effective is it from a pricing perspective.
All right. Brett, you guys got a new CEO here recently, so congratulations on that.
Yeah, thank you.
How is when you change leadership like that and you come to a show? It was just announced last week, right? That your new CEO. How does that transition take place in this environment where you've got this, one of your biggest shows of the year?
Yes, his name is Ed McConaughey, and we're extremely excited. He's got a tremendous amount of experience running businesses, and we're just super excited to let people know that RTI isn't going away. We lost our leader. It was obviously a bit devastating for us, but now I think from a distributor standpoint, from a dealer standpoint, to see that we do have a great leader in place, and he is saying the right things, and he's listening. I think that's the number one thing right now is the distributors and the dealers have lots of great ideas, and he is super keen to listen to all of those, and we have great products, we have great software, we have great people, and we just need to kind of work around the fringes and listen to what our dealers and distributors need, and especially in this environment worldwide, because obviously we're based in the United States. Sometimes they feel a little disconnected, and so this opportunity at ISE to be right face to face with all of our biggest supporters is fantastic.
Absolutely. What's one or two things that you've seen either walking the show or in your guys' booth that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the best thing ever?
Well, everything at RTI is fantastic.
Yes, everything at RTI. Very well done.
Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't had an opportunity to leave the booth, but I certainly within our booth we have a number of different things that we're working on that are very exciting. Z-Wave technology is something that is we've released it in North America, and now that's one of the things that our dealers have been really clamoring for. Is you got it there, now we want it, and so there's some steps we need to go through to get it available to the rest of the world. But
what are those steps? Is it regulation? Is it?
Yeah, they have certification for different zones or different regions of the world based on frequencies, and so you have to kind of go through the steps for each one. That's coming along nicely, and the hardware is done. It's just getting past those things, and then the rest of the world will be able to take advantage of it as well. The other thing that is going on is it's our 25th anniversary. So along with Ed coming on board, we also, kind of our legacy was remote controls and home theater controls and things like that. And our founder, John Dembski, was obviously a leader in that kind of evolution that's taken place over the last 25 years. So we did decide to have some fun with it and take his vision and some ideas that he's been talking about and bring it to reality. So we have some fun remote controls, our T3X flagship remote control. We have
Just kind of played with some colors and materials, made it out of aluminum and some things like that, just to kind of push the envelope. Even the remote control, the device that's been around forever, can keep evolving and meeting all the different types of applications that are necessary. So.
All right, Mr. Griffing, you'll have the last word on this, either from the press, which you're IR,
Yes.
also from an integrator. What's one thing that, besides being ginormous, what's one thing?
Just one thing about
this show.
Yeah. Well, so I think from kind of just the European standpoint, to me, is interesting to come over here and explore some of the technologies that are bigger overseas that we don't really see so much in the States. So I spent some time yesterday talking to the guys at KNX, which is a big one, just to try to get a better understanding for that. And then just the style too, like over in that KNX area, I noticed there was just a ton of these like square glass touch keypads, which we don't really see in the States, and it seems to be a huge thing over here. And I think that, I've been a believer for a long time that we're kind of overdue for refreshed take on physical control, in-wall control. I think that, we had touch panels forever. We still have those, obviously. The iPad came around, that kind of changed the game, but I think people are starting to get a little bit of app fatigue, and I think we're starting to see more innovation in that physical control space, and I would love to see some American manufacturers sort of take inspiration from some of the things they're doing over here in Europe, because if you go over there and take a look at them, there's like thousands of them, and they're just very, very stylish, and there's all different configurations, and so I just think from a form and function standpoint, it's a great idea, and I would love to see more of that in the States.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, guys, I'm gonna let you out of here. Brett, how do people find you, either here or at RTI?
We are at booth, or I should say stand, 1-P as in Paul, 58.
All right, very good. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
And if they're not here, how do they find RTI?
RTIcorp.com.
Very good. Mr. Bruno, thank you, sir.
You're very welcome.
Appreciate it.
One comment I'd like to make, referencing statements that both of these gentlemen make. Here at Integrated Systems, there are a world of opportunities, and that which you see here can be taken home and introduced to our market and all over the world. And we all regard industry pioneers, and so the fact that there's a plan for continuance at RTI moving forward, your direction. More and more boutique hotels are being built around the country, and they all include home automation from the CEDIA community, because it's the CEDIA community that makes those rooms luxurious, fun, and entertaining. So, my Twitter handle is CEDIA_VIN.
Okay.
You may find all things CEDIA at cedia.org. And thank you once again for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right, Jason, how do people find you?
Yeah, at Home Tech Podcast on Twitter is probably the best way, and at hometech.fm if they want to check out the podcast.
All right, very good. My name is Tim Albright. For more information about us and the AVNation, you can go to avnation.tv. avnation.tv. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. This has been ResiWeek.